Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. I am Obsidia, the DM of this campaign, as well as the creator and writer of the campaign and setting, Nexus Forlorn Legacy. Tonight is our very first session, and I am so happy that you have all decided to join us for it. We're going to be doing round the table introductions, where everyone's going to say who they are, what character they are playing, and then we are going to hop right in. So, without further ado, we begin with none other than B.
That's me. Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be making my official debut as one of Obsidia's players. When I'm not playing as Feng-chen, who you'll be meeting tonight if you haven't seen the Origin sessions, which were all some fantastic episodes for all four of us. If you haven't seen those, you'll be meeting my girl tonight. Hope you like her as much as I do. Otherwise, I'm a variety streamer who does a bunch of stuff with roguelikes, RPGs, digital artwork, and sometimes I'm a hornier, older, more New Yorker goblin instead of a jackalope, or I guess this, because Fung is also kind of a goblin. Hi, glad to be here.
Thank you, B. Very excited to have you here. Next up, we got Meris.
Hello, everybody. I'm Meris. I go by Meris Aurum on both Twitch and Twitter. I'm normally a storytelling, literature, reading, media literacy critiquing streamer who does comfy cozy audiobook-esque streams. But today we are throwing all of the brain cells into the garbage can, and I am playing the party's hot pink tiefling himbo Soleil. And I'm very much looking forward to it, and I can't wait to cause a respectable amount of mayhem.
Thank you, Maris. I'm sorry, I'm trying to fix the chat log. But we are very excited to have you. Next up, we got Sif.
Hi. It's me, Sif, living suit of armor, role playing as a cute little girl, as I always do. But yes, I will be role playing as Nafisa. She's a silly gal with a silly dog. It's really scaly, but he's just as friendly. Uh, I stream Arden games. That's all I got. Oh, and I also run Curse of Strahd that you can see most of these people on my YouTube channel. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you, Sif. And then last but not least, we have Lily.
Yellow. My name is Lily. Super excited to be here. As always, super excited to be queer. I'm going to be playing Aurora, this lovely pink sheep satyr, during the course of this wild little campaign we've got going on here. And as for myself, I mostly just kind of vibe on socials, draw a good bit, draw a lot of my D&D characters, including Aurora here as well. So if you like to see just someone learning to draw and all that good stuff and being trans, yep, that's my existence.
Yes, thank you, Lily, and we love to see all of the queer art that Lily bestows upon us.
So
um,
queer.
so gay. We are all very gay. If you haven't picked that up already, so here we are, Nexus Forlorn Legacy. Nexus is an industrialized magitech world where many fantastical creations have been made possible via the discovery of the enigmatic but magically charged mineral known as Nexite. This works in tandem with conventional magic to allow the kind of progress and creations that would otherwise not be available in most Dungeons and Dragons games. And specifically, we start here today in the Western continent, past the the vast steppes of the eastern marches and the painted desert and the sapphire sea, past the Ravenin Imperium and the divine domain of Vanyaska, past the former arcane conclave of Eryxia in the Eryxis Mountains, and finally we arrive at the western tip of the continent, the macro state of the United Federation of Allied States, one of the most advanced nation conglomerations in all the world. It is a sprawling supranational entity consisting of the Federal Republic of Tyrol in the east, the Eisenstadt, the Union of Aura Kalmar in the north, the High Principality of Avalon, the Kingdom of Castile, the Grand Republic of Leon, and most importantly for our intrepid heroes here today, the Confederatio Umbria in the southeast. Umbria is a sprawling set of allied city-states that have joined up together in a confederated council focused on progress, science, innovation, and education. And out of all of the great city-states that dot its countryside and coast, we specifically start in the most serene republic of Vennonia. Vennonia is known as the City of Birds, for from once you enter the vast harpy-shaped gates that lead into the outskirts of the sprawling metroplex, you see that the state is covered in mechanical avians is the best way to put it. There are no living birds here anymore, but rather there are thousands of these mechanical birds on every rooftop and street corner with vast pollution and smog-related sifters built into their chests to help process the numerous pollutants that are created by the various manufactories and research and development testing labs that are full throughout the city, partially what it's known for. The vast hills that overlook the main urban sprawl are where the aristocracy of the city reside, and slightly apart from them, and of course all of these are above the lingering smog clouds that cover the city and below the elevated mansions and manors, there is the Montaña di Drago, the home of the legendary dragons that fought in the Great Liberation Wars 50 years ago. But we don't start in those lofty spires. Rather, we are on the very ground and streets where automobiles honk and sputter through traffic as dirigibles float above, and electric lights line the street corners as the bustle and press of humanity goes about their days. And unlike many other tales that I may otherwise have told, this one, in fact, starts where everyone meets in a bar. Specifically, the bar and restaurant known as Bellissimo's, and where we begin with none other than our fair Aurora, wandering the streets of Vennonia after a long time in the countryside. And what is going through Aurora's head as she enters this city and is trying to find some rest and respite?
Yeah, I think essentially she has been wandering the countryside of the UFAS for the last year, essentially, occasionally taking pit stops into some of the larger cities, but overall keeping quite seriously into the as far away from heavy civilization as she possibly can. However, she does find herself coming into cities with a remote frequency in order to refresh her paint stocks, as well as to sell some of her artwork in order to do her best to make ends meet and pay off some lovely student debt. from the fact that she left her university before finishing the degree, and just in general, I'm sure she would still have plenty of student debt even if she didn't do that. But nonetheless, here she is. And so as she kind of wanders the streets of this grand city, she's just kind of like, with a little bit of a skip in her step, just kind of taking a glance at people. But overall, kind of keeping a little bit to the side and being very, very perceptive as to what's going on around her to the best of her abilities. And just decides, I think I could probably use a good meal for once.
Excellent. And it's opportune timing then, as you see the sign outside of Bellissimo's says, free antipasta for new guests, as long as you stay for the free show tonight.
I think Aurora seeing this would this is going to be, I'm going to describe this just for everybody, but Aurora is going to talk to herself a bit. We will get into that later. But it's just going to be like, hey, do you know what antipasta is? Oh, okay. So like appetizers. Got it. I mean, it's free and there's a show. We always like to see a little bit of culture whenever we come into these kinds of towns. So, no, I know. I got it. Thank you very much. Yeah, no. I got invisibility ready, so if that needs to happen, then we can make it happen. You worry too much. And she just strolls on in.
Yeah, you notice that people on the street kind of look at you strangely as you engage in this discourse in front of the restaurant. But it's a big city. You're just another crazy person in New York, so they just kind of look at you and keep going.
Exactly.
You would also behoove everyone here if you were. Now it's been over a year of you traveling the countryside of the UFAS, and it's been a considerable amount of time since your own origin session that people can watch on the YouTube. So if you would like to describe the modern Aurora.
Yeah, so she is still, like, overall pretty well dressed. Definitely a little bit of a step down from probably where she was at the end of her origin session, but still very well maintained in spite of any potential wear and tear that you think would happen along the road. Has been manicured back into a very pristine setting. So mending and other such things, other trimmings to make sure that her fur is as perfect as it can be. She still very much takes super good care of herself. But overall, takes very good care of herself visually, but physically a little bit less so. And has actively been stealing basically all of her food from random like fast food joints and just random places that she thinks she can get away with before leaving town for good.
Myself. Sorry, I forgot to mute myself. So as you enter Bellissimo's, you see that it is not a large restaurant. There's probably about a dozen other people here aside from you, arranged at various tables throughout the room. And there is a bar section where behind the bar is a man in a very like nice tuxedo. He is a male elf with very short, close cropped, like black hair. He is wearing a big pair of sunglasses, despite it being evening, as he just kind of gives you a big smile, as he, is pouring drinks and stuff. And everyone here, these elves in various tuxedos or dresses that have these sunglasses on, and they're just being very, hospitable, walking up to people, asking, what they would like. As you enter, you see that it seems to be a seat yourself kind of arrangement. So in this room, it's probably about, oh gosh, let me say, maybe I have a map of it, so I'm trying to. It's probably about a 60-foot wide room, but there's about, we'll say, 9 or so tables up throughout the room. There's a big hearth with a fire blazing. Mostly seems to be decorative, as you don't feel any heat coming off of it. You're probably in summer right now, so it's probably just a magical effect. There is a slight stage at the northern part of the room that is elevated, where there is a piano that one of the elves is just playing a very much a nice little background classical tune. And there are numerous just pictures of landscapes of Vanonia, the cityscapes, I guess you would say. They're showing various people going about their lives, a picture of a car, etc. Where would you like to sit? There appears to be 4 empty tables and the bar.
Yeah. I think just to add a little bit of flavor, as Aurora walks into the establishment, one could notice that her shadow kind of elongates a little bit further in order to sort of and you see it quickly switch to the left, switch to the right, as if checking corners as Aurora kind of carelessly walks in to this bar. But as she enters, she'll kind of give a little wink and a "hey cutie" to whoever's manning the front entrance of the bar or of the facility, and then go ahead and walk over to essentially as far away from the door as possible,
Okay.
whichever table that may be, and is going to kind of keep an eye on the entrance at all times while waiting to be served.
And I'm sorry, did you say you were going to the bar or the table? Or you're just waving at somebody at the bar?
I was just waving at somebody at the bar, but just the furthest away table, but a table for
Gotcha.
sure.
Yeah, there's a table that is just off of the stage, basically. It's right in front of the stage. Front row seats, if you will.
Mm-hmm. That would also be a good reason as to why she would sit there.
Awesome. You, as you sit down, a female elf will approach you, and I will not do an Italian accent for her, but she'll say, well, welcome to our fair restaurant, madam. What would you like, or would you like to see our menu?
I mean, menu would be good. I do gotta ask, how fine of an establishment are we talking about here?
She kind of chuckles a bit and goes, well, we find ourselves catering to mostly the middle class and above here in town. But, we can assure you that our treats, delights, and sensations can be top-notch. There's few establishments in this city that could exceed ours in those capacities.
Okay, got it. Then for appetizers, I would be glad to have some arancini, I think is how you say it. Some of that stuff, please.
Excellent. I will be right out with that. This is your friendly reminder that this is, of course, a welcoming gift from us to you for gracing our establishment with your patronage. And we look forward to having you here tonight, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Oh, well, your food ain't the only gift you're giving me right now. Gives her a little, doe-eyed stare as she walks away.
She kind of does a little like bashful smile as she puts a hand to her chest as she does a little slight curtsy in response before turning on her heel and heading away.
Now, and I want to do one quick thing just
Okay.
for flavor. She would be like, "No, I know. This is something you got to learn, Nethris. You know, I was looking for cheese sticks, but we're at a high-class restaurant, so you got to do it what they're doing. And the arancini is basically the closest thing you can get for something when it's fancy cheese sticks."
Your shadow ripples a little. And with that, we come to the second wayward soul that has found itself to the city of Anonia. None other than Soleil. Now, Soleil, it's been about a month, 2 months since you journeyed from the Feywilds to the UFAS. You obviously had your time laying low in Signavishta after the incident that occurred. But you, after your time there with Laszlo and Associates, you have eventually left and found yourself somewhat inexplicably drawn to the Confederatio Umbria, and specifically, you have found yourself this day in the City of Birds, Venonia. And given some time, you've gotten a bit more acclimated to how Federation cities seem to be and the various wonders that entail. The lack of bird life here is odd. There are 0 living wild birds anywhere in the city that you've seen. Only these mechanical constructs, which they're very lifelike, but they're still these kind of stainless steel like skeletal constructions of birds with these like massive like bellow sifters in their chests.
No birds, just government drones.
Only government drones. So as you wander these streets, you find yourself also brought to kind of just absent-mindedly to Bellissimo's. And what is going through Soleil's head as of late?
I think recently, being as you mentioned, a stranger in a strange land, I think Soleil has spent as much time as realistically possible to explore his various surroundings. I think laying low at Laszlo's, even though he was treated very well by his new friends, I think he started getting some cabin fever and just was really itching to like go out and explore. Because everything is new to him. He is experiencing everything for the first time. So being in a new city is very exciting for him. He can actually explore a little bit. So there's definitely some pep in his step. And if you were to see, his eyes from beneath the mask, they are wide. They are taking everything in. And he's really just looking to see everything that this place has to offer.
Gotcha.
So he sees a nice restaurant exterior, and kind of crow-brained. If it looks nice and shiny, he's gonna go for it.
Crow-brained. I told you there's no birds in this city.
Oh no.
But yeah, you do see the sign that says free antipasta, as well as a free show. You don't know what antipasta is, but it's free.
I do like free. That's good enough for me.
As you enter, you see what I described for Aurora, plus now there is an Aurora sitting at a table near the front of the stage. There are 3 other open tables as well as the bar, and about a dozen other miscellaneous people present, aside from about 4 or 5 of these well-dressed elves.
I think Soleil is going to take a quick look around, and he sort of understands that he's now come to realize after his months on this plane that he just looks like a bit of an oddity. So kind of expecting eyes to lay on him, but he's going to give a quick glance to find a friendly, or at least not like a rude stare. Even a curious glance, is fine, but a friendly face. Because at the end of the day, he's a very social creature, and he wants to get out and mingle a little bit. So,
well, there is of course the Aurora, who looks to be quite friendly. The elves are all, after a very momentary kind of cocking their heads to the side, they give you a big smile. And everyone else kind of gives you very odd looks, but it seems like you are very much a novelty, but they also don't want to be like super rude, so they're not just like fucking deadpan staring at you.
Hey, so long as there's not a shirt dress code, I'm good.
There it is seemingly not.
Excellent. Yeah, I think he is going to first go up to what looks to be the bar. Get himself a glass of something, because he's still kind of unfamiliar with all of the liquid libations that are available on this plane. But he knows that there's some pretty strong stuff, so I think he will quite literally phrase it as such when he goes to order, just like, hey buddy, give me something nice and strong, if you will.
Hey buddy, old pal. Okay, so you roll up to the bar. The male elf behind the bar kind of gives you a big smile and looks you up and down and goes, well, I would be happy to wet your whistle, sir. It's not every day we see patronage such as yours, but do not let that dissuade you, for we find the fact that you have graced us with your presence most commendable, and we are honored to be able to treat you with such delights. Would you consider yourself more of a earthy, oaky flavoring, or do you prefer it sweeter, or something of a bit lighter heft, but perhaps smoother disposition?
Listen, buddy, whistle wetting's gonna have to wait until you pour me a glass of something, so I'll say that I prefer something a little fiery, kind of like that light behind your eyes.
Oh, if you could see my eyes, I don't think you'd be ready for the fire that could be burning.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well then, how about this? This is a fine Avalonian Scotch that has been aged 15 years. I would normally not give this to any person who would walk through my door, but you seem to be a man of taste and of clear, stern disposition.
Out of myself as such. Is 15 years meant to be a long time?
He laughs again and goes, well, it can be for many people here. Not everyone is presumably graced with such longevity as shared by you or I.
Duly noted. I'll give it a shot.
Well, this is actually more of a sipping whiskey.
Right. Savored slowly.
And he'll pour you a glass, and another beautiful elven waitress will come by, and she will provide you a menu, as well as she just immediately comes out with a a kind of a charcuterie board style antipasta of some meats, some olives, mushrooms, pepperoncinis, artichoke hearts, and some cheeses.
Excellent. He's kind of unceremoniously just grab a fistful of the hard meats like the salamis and whatnot and slightly tilt the mask up, and his hand just like disappears under it as he is just delightfully eating away at the proteins on the charcuterie board.
Yeah, kind of gives you a smile at that. It goes, I could tell that you look to be a hungry boy. Been out hunting?
As a matter of fact, I have all sorts of critters, beasts, monsters, demons. I'd be happy to tell you a tale or two, but looks like you're a little bit occupied right now.
Well, I must, of course, play the gracious host, but perhaps when there's a bit of a lull, you can whisper some sweet nothings of your adventures into my ear.
Sounds good. We'll get back to wetting whistles in a bit. But for now, I'm gonna do a round. And he's gonna grab, like, one hand has the plate of half-eaten charcuterie, the other hand he's got his beverage, and he's going to give a little turn about the room. And I think in this metropolitan, world that he finds himself in, as I said, he's very crow-brained. He's going to gravitate towards the people that just instantly catch his eye. And so I think finding another pink being would be very intriguing to him.
She's also Fae.
Yes. So, I mean, seeing a satyr is very exciting. So he'll kind of mosey on over to her table, to Aurora's table, and set down his plate and sets down his drink, sets himself down in the seat across from her, and just go, wow, you're a long way from home, ain't you?
I mean, naturally. I take it. She looks very closely at him. I take it you are too.
I am. Only been here for... Counts on his fingers, trying to remember how to count time on this plane. Couple months, I think.
Well, the way you handled that meat there certainly showed your expertise in that field. But I just... Wait, you said a month?
I think. Something like that. Time's a little weird.
I mean, you're not wrong, but... You've been UFAS for a month? I figured you'd learn that stuff by now.
Yeah, well, like I said, time's a little weird when you don't have to think about it before. But I'm sure you know all about that, right? I mean, how long did it take you to catch on to all this time nonsense?
Well, time nonsense. I'm like... I'm 23. Living my life in Erixia and then coming on over to the UFAS.
If you could see his face, there'd be a brief wash of disappointment.
Oh, I mean,
he just kind of sits back in his chairs. Hold
on one second. Where are you from? Perhaps I've been there.
I'm kind of starting to doubt that.
Oh, try me, dear. I've been traveling all around this world for last year.
That's the thing. Say that last part again.
Traveling around the world for a year, or this part of the world for a year.
Yeah, this world. That's the key issue there. Looks like your traveling doesn't quite reach my home realm.
I mean, where else? I mean, the Fae come from all over the place, so I'm sure it's not been that long. Wait, you said realm?
Yes. Realm.
Holy
there are lots of others.
Holy jeez. Are you from the Feywild?
I certainly am. I kinda, pardon my assumption, I kind of assumed that you were.
Well, I mean, I'm sure way back in my family's lineage that they came from the Feywild too, but oh, no, dear. Not often you see such a big hulking man like this coming around claiming to be a true Fey. Your eyes do kind of promise that, though.
I'm not, I'm not, just spinning a yarn, darling.
Well, please, spin along. I'd love to hear some stories about the Feywild.
Huh. Well, how much are you interested in, hunting?
Hunting's not exactly my thing, if I'm being honest. I mean, like, I may have been living about in the wilds, but I ain't exactly struggling in the wilds, if you catch my drift.
Oh, you're one of those, what you call them, city slickers.
uh, I mean, mm, maybe, maybe. I was only in a city really for like 4 years. Otherwise, I've been sort of out in the country, both the desolate country of the UFAS, but before that, just a small little country village. So it was a bit of both.
Hmm. Hmm. I just assumed since you're looking so and well put together, a lot of effort goes into your appearance. You don't like to dirty your hands.
Look at you. You got some good eyes. You're right. I don't like to dirty my appearance very much, as I put a lot of effort into it every single day. But, you know, it's just something I take a little bit of pride in. I've always been told that I'm a bit of a prideful little girl.
Hmm. Well, as you should be. I mean, you're quite the dish, doll.
I think at that, uh, I don't want to tell you to roll a perception check, but I kind of do.
Use those eyeballs. I mean, I can if you want me to.
Do it. I'm taking hold.
All right, all right. Oh, jeez.
First rolled, it's for a woogaing.
Awooga.
Full on eye
13.
pop out.
13. How much awooga do I see?
I think just very briefly, as sort of Aurora tilts her head, you could notice that the shadow behind her doesn't move with it.
Awoogaing, but very demure, very mindful.
Very mindful.
What? I mean, you got a little sweet tongue on you there.
Huh. You sure you ain't Fey touched?
No, I ain't Fey touched.
Not yet, anyway.
Hey, yo!
Oh dear, you're gonna have to buy me dinner first.
DM, they're making out!
Oh my god.
Get your tongues out of each other's mouths already!
At that note, we're gonna pass it to Feng-chen. Feng, you've come from literally the opposite side of the Federation, coming all the way from the islands of Avalon down to Umbria. You know, as you are now in the city of Vennonia, wandering the mean streets. Like, what is going through your head?
Well, after I finished up training with my mentor, I felt it best that I try and broaden my horizon, see as much of the country as I could, and perhaps start to put some ideas about grander plans requiring much more in the way of social clout in order to enact them. So I figure, yes, I should do my best to try and spread my renown as far as possible.
Wonderful. Could you please describe Feng for everyone?
Feng is a hobgoblin on her father's side. She is a minotaur on her mother's side, although in practical sense, she is basically a hobgoblin with some cow horns and, although it's covered up by what she wears most of the time, a little cow tail. She is probably around her early 20s by this point. Keeps her hair in a very meticulous bang, but at the same time also just completely lets her bangs go to wilds. She is strangely particular the ways in which she is meticulous with her own appearance. But if there's one thing that can be said about the presence, the stage presence she's trying to create, it's that it is dramatic. Is it necessarily practical? No. I would argue wearing a 15-pound cloak, not particularly practical, but the way that she has embroidered and personalized and restyled it, it does make it much more notable.
Wearing a 15-pound cloak in summer, no less.
I would say the only other thing that I suppose with this outfit you'd only just see a hint of is whenever she reaches for a door, naturally she reaches with her dominant hand, which, although covered up to the wrist by her robe, is notably made of some mixed metals.
Wonderful. Now, you found yourself in Venonia, and as you wander the streets, it seems like you are, no matter how much you kind of wander about town, you inexplicably find yourself drawn to this restaurant of Bellisimo's, where there is, as advertised, free antipasta and a free show.
Well, I haven't had access to my radio, so I can't check in on my shows. I suppose this will do. It would be good to take in some of the local culture as well. And I do appreciate a little bit of drama.
All right. As you enter the restaurant, it is as I've described, except now you see that there is a very large pink man with a skull mask and antlers, speaking of dramatic, sitting at a table near the front stage of the restaurant, talking to a small pink satyr girl, and they're apparently quite enamored in their conversation with each other. But there are 3 other open tables as well as the bar.
Let's start at the bar, I think.
Okay. As you get to the bar, you see there is that same bartender who looks up at you and smiles and says, "Ah, welcome to Bellisimo's. How can I be of service, my lady? What would you like? Would you like a drink or simply something else to quench your perhaps parched throat from your travels?"
Well, I am never one to turn down an offer as generous as that you advertise outside. However, today I think I shall start with something to drink. Have you any tea?
He does a little nod and goes, "Of course, what would you like? Green tea, black tea, jasmine tea, and herbal tea, perhaps? I could continue, but I assume you have preferences."
Oh, goodness, well, as much as I fall back on the stands by the absolute standard of quality that is a good green tea, it has been far too long since I've indulged in a jasmine. Let's go with, and she looks back at the table. Let's make it 3.
You see an eyebrow kind of perk up from behind his sunglasses as he goes, "Excellent. And would you be drinking it in the Avalonian fashion with milk or cream, or would you just prefer it in the more traditional straight?"
Oh, goodness. I suppose it is simply my burden to bear forever being associated with such barbaric treatment of tea. But alas, I think simply straight will be more than enough.
Excellent. And I take it by the number of cups. Will others be joining you here, or shall I have them brought to another table?
We shall see. I can certainly take one. As for the others, you know, I rather fancy trying my luck. We'll see if it works out. If not, well, I'm certainly prone to thirst.
Well, then we will hopefully be able to put off such inclinations for at least your evening here.
Goodness, I can't imagine what you would be suggesting, my dear bartender.
Simply saying that if you find yourself prone to thirst, then we will endeavor to keep you well lubricated throughout the evening.
Splendid. It's always very important to stay properly lubricated, especially when you're prone to being a bit rusty. And she emphasizes that by sort of wiggling her fingers to illustrate the mechanical hand.
He looks and goes, "I am sure there is quite the story behind that, and if you find yourself perhaps away from whatever companions you have enamored with you this evening, then I would love for you to come by here and regale me with your tales, as I ensure that you stay lubricious."
It would be my absolute pleasure. I am nothing if not a very eager performer.
Excellent. Well, the waitress appears and provides you a porcelain glass of jasmine tea, and she simply says, "Whenever you would like the additional cups, please just gesture to me, and I will have them brought over. And if you intend to go elsewhere, I can bring your antipasta with you to whatever table you find yourself, or I could simply bring it here."
Oh, that sounds perfectly splendid. I shall be endeavoring to inundate myself with some of the local colorful characters you seem to be serving for tonight, but we shall see. I will give you the signal should curtain call end up occurring. Or if not, a happy little swing and a miss.
She will curtsy and say, "Whatever you desire, your wish is our objective of objective of satisfaction." And she will slink away.
All right. Yeah, this is something that I think there's a moment of reflection where, you don't really ever totally get over something like anxiety. So she still feels that flutter in the stomach. She's just gotten better at ignoring it. And yeah, she's going to shoot her shot, so to speak. And she'll take it over to the table with Soleil and Aurora, and clearing her throat. Pardon me. I couldn't help but notice that you're simply the most interesting people I have seen all day. Would you do me the honor of allowing me your company?
Huh. No need to be so formal, dear. Come on, sit alongside us. No problem.
Absolutely. I mean, you picked the right table, I gotta say.
I think this is a good time to note, Soleil, if you could please describe yourself for Feng, or for Feng,
Sure.
sorry.
Yeah, sure.
And maybe for the rest of the audience at home.
Yes, but specifically for Feng.
So, Soleil is quite the tall individual. He's about 7 foot tall, minus antlers. And bright pink skin, uh dark antlers coming out of his head, a mop of shaggy purple hair that is very lazily braided to stay out of his face. Um, the face, which is hidden behind a deer skull mask. He's somewhat clothed. Soleil doesn't believe in wearing anything really on his torso. I mean, why deprive everyone of this view? But he wraps around his waist a series of fabrics in a sort of robe-like fashion, which you might recognize, Feng, as being very hobgoblin in design. A lot of very a lot of prints and colors that you would hobgoblin fashion. And he is also absolutely littered in both scars, and most of those scars are tattooed gold. Again, Feng would understand the significance of that.
All right, and we can resume now with the interactions.
I must say, sir, that I was not expecting to see another member of a clan so far from my home. To
Again,
whom do you belong?
if you could see his face, he would be cracking a big toothy grin. And he would just respond in Hobgoblin, "Yeah, I certainly don't look it, do I?" And then motions for her to have a seat next to him, and just say, "My father's clan was Clan Zhao."
I see.
You know, I just Sorry,
Can
not
I
to.
just roll to see if I've ever heard of that before? That clan?
Sure, make a history check.
Uh,
Ooh.
19.
You have not heard of Clan Zhao. They are either not um not like anybody that your father may have heard of from back in the Solari Empire, nor did you ever hear about it as one of the other goblinoid clans of at least the Northern Federation. So it's definitely not an Avalonian clan. At least you are 100% positive it's not an Avalon. When you go to maybe the Eisenstadt or Aura Kalmar, it's you don't think you've ever heard of it there. Beyond that, it's just you're asking like a single clan in the entirety of a continent. So it's like there might be one, but you've never heard of it.
Well, I would say looks aren't everything. After all, my mother certainly would not look the part of a traditional woman of Clan Wong nor any other clan. However, I must say, I rather admire your gilding, sir. I only wish I had been able to do the same with my own, but alas, rolling up the sleeve a little more, there was not enough canvas to make such lovely art.
Well, thank you. Mighty proud of them myself. But
What happened to your arm?
Oh, this.
Oh, that was insensitive, wasn't it?
Oh, no, no, no.
I'm
Well,
beginning to
I mean-
realize I skipped a few steps here. I don't even know your name.
oh shit, I guess we better do names, huh?
yeah,
That's something
yeah.
that y'all
No,
do.
no, don't worry, don't worry. I am more than used to such formalities being skipped when you can become such fast friends so easily. But my name is Feng-chen Wong. You may simply use Feng or Feng-chen if you prefer. And to whom do I have the honor today?
Well, I'm very pleased to meet you, Miss Feng. I'm Soleil. And what is your name, you sweet little pink dollop?
Well, my name's Aurora.
That's awful fitting.
I like to think so. My daddy chose real well.
Well, Feng, Aurora, I think we find ourselves in some mighty splendid company.
Yes, here I was looking for a colorful band of rogues and ne'er-do-wells, and I dare say I use such terms in the highest regards. I believe I may have found some.
Well, I kind of interrupted you guys' little discussion about goblinoid culture. Please continue. And she'll just kind of put a hand up and just put her face in her palm and just kind of listen as the two of them talk.
Oh, well, it's just, I don't think you should feel too bad about not having Gildan of your own. I mean, battle scars are battle scars, no matter how you slice it, regardless of what they look like. They've got a story to tell, and you should be proud of that.
I agree. I suppose that might be a touch why I entered the fields. I am a prosthesis maker, you see.
That was a very big word you just used.
When
Me-
someone loses a part of their body, and to such a degree that perhaps it cannot be so lovingly filled in as with our practices of gilding, I seek to make new models, new limbs, new organs, new senses, whatever a client demands.
You know, I think there was someone at my college that studied prosthesis work like that. Some real fine, like porcelain, replacement limbs and such that they created. Whew, real fine stuff.
Yes, I find so much of my field is so fixated on Nexite, but I feel there are much cleaner, simpler ways to go about creating these. And certainly, many people underestimate just how versatile a material like bone porcelain can be. As to answer your question, though, about the means in which I lost my arm, well, I suppose in the effort to keep things lighter today, I shall simply say I lost a battle with someone that, in hindsight, I am quite pleased to have not defeated.
Soleil just kind of tilts his head in curiosity at that. Just, what, you get your revenge later?
In a manner of speaking, I find when one's greatest enemy is one's self, the best revenge is to live excessively well.
I don't think that's how that saying goes.
Yes, well, I'm not, I suppose, quite how many people think of success either, but
Well, success is
well,
whatever you make of it. Ain't just defined
certainly,
by what what society may hold dear.
certainly, and I have big ambitions, big goals in mind, but
Hell yeah, girl, go get 'em.
here's to doing wrong things right, righting wrongs, and wronging those who right the wrongs.
Amen to that, sister.
And
Indeed.
with that toast, we will now go to our final wayward soul, Nafisa. You have just recently gotten off a train and have found yourself on the outskirts of Enonia with your trusty companions. As you enter the city proper, you find yourself in a very different style of city from the Tyrolean city you were in before of Salzstein. And this place is much, much bigger. This is much closer to what Jacob had told you, that how big cities can truly get in the Federation. As at the outskirts of this city, you can see for miles, and it's more cityscape, and you see the hills with all the mansions and spires above them, and the kind of very visible break line between the blue-gray smog pollution level that kind of lingers over the urbanscape, and then the much nicer areas which seem to be above the overall pollution and chemicals. you do see the large gates with the harpies holding up the front entrance, but you begin to hear, the sounds of bustling cityscape and cars honking and driving. You see a train chugging along, dirigibles flying above it, and what's going through Nafisa's head as she arrives at Venonia?
You want me to describe myself to DM, or is that for?
Well, you'd start if you want to describe yourself first, and then go through what's in your head.
Okay. First words in her head upon seeing this new landscape is so this is a city. And she's not at this point. She's been seeing. It's been a couple of months since she's left home, and it's sort of like she's still surprised to see someplace newer and bigger and differenter, but it's sort of like it's been numbed by the fact that she keeps seeing newer, shinier, different places. I mean, I wouldn't say shiny. This place definitely has dirt on it, but yeah, her initial thoughts are, okay, new place. Okay, I'm hungry. Mr. Jacob?
Oh yes, we can. I could perhaps go. It's been quite a while since I was here last. But perhaps there is some of my old haunts that we could perhaps visit.
Oh, I would like to try some of your local cuisine. The way you talked about it back home always had me wondering.
Oh
Like a
yeah, it is
pretzel.
so good here, so good. Much better than back to where I'm actually from.
Oh, I see.
For everyone who did not see Nafisa's origin, Jacob is a very gangly, somewhat emaciated human male in his 50s.
You can say twink anthropologist or twink.
If you took the guy from Atlantis and then made him 50 years old, that's probably what this guy would look like.
He's the token straight.
And
Don't say that. I have to flirt with the old man.
he is burdened with like bags and saddlebags and stuff that contain numerous papers and other notes and trinkets and stuff that he has accumulated in his time with Nafisa and her family. But he is originally from the Eisenstadt, which is a different country in the Federation. But he works at a university here in town. So he goes, well, then we will perhaps start our journey wandering the town. And he starts bopping along. Everything about him is swaying. You think that the sheer burdens of all of his bags on him kind of like cause all of his overly like gangly motions to sway even farther left and right as he moves, as just the momentum of all the stuff on him swings and then swings back the other way.
It is a balancing act he has mastered since his days in college.
Yeah, this is a man who lives off of coffee and cigarettes. But one of the interesting things that is for specifically Nafisa as you start walking through the city is you see that, Jacob had told you, along the way, this is the city of birds. But there are 0 birds, like 0 living birds here, which is quite shocking after, spending time with your mother's tribe back in the Eastern Marches. All you see on these rooftops and stuff are these skeletal steel avian creatures with these like very like mechanical like bellow sacs inside of their chest that they're inhaling what seems to be aspects of this blue and gray kind of smog and doing something with it. There are no pigeons here.
The steel gargoyles, I'll call them. Do they they appear bird-like, right? Like
they look.
draw the dots.
It's like if you did like a God, I'm forgetting what those called. But it's basically like if you did a skeletal frame, not like it doesn't look like a skeleton, it's just a skeletal frame of like crows and like like sparrows and robins and stuff. But they're made entirely of steel. But you can like see through the various parts of them because it's open except for the sacks.
Nafisa's gonna tug on Jacob's shoulder and go, Are those the birds you said the city was known for?
Oh yeah, well, there used to be other birds here, but after the Great Plagues that went through the city something like 70 years ago, has all of the birds eliminated. They unfortunately, because they are much harder to find, there are still rats and other types of the animals that wander about, but all of the avians were eliminated, and they ensure that no more are able to take roost here. But the various the smog crows, as we like to call them, do a good job of at least giving the overall the vibe check of avian life. And they perform an important civic duty by being able to help process some of the pollution and the chemicals that find themselves from the various research and development facilities in town, and make it so that the people down here can have a better level of overall quality of breathable air.
That's sad. And she just like has like the SpongeBob sad face, the Boo Womp one. Is like the idea of like we literally saw her mother's tribe, the bird tribe, and now we're here in the UFAS and bird machine broke. We ain't gotten any birds. Okay. Do you see anywhere good to eat, Mr. Jacob?
I remember this town like it was the back of my hand. And he starts wandering, and you constantly hear him go, "Oh, wait, well, I guess they changed the street name here, but that is to be expected, I guess." And it goes like this for probably about 20 minutes as he wanders about, clearly having no idea where he's going. But seemingly inexplicably, you find yourselves outside of a restaurant known as Bellissimo's, which has a sign that says free antipasta and show.
Mr. Jacob, it says free, and you told me what pasta was. What's antipasta?
Oh, the antipasta is kind of like like an appetizer. It is something you have before meal. It's like similar to the like charcuterie board where you put in the meats and the cheeses and various vegetables and stuff. It's to somewhat get your appetite up and running before you have the main meal.
There's no, I remember you told me this, there's no funny star next to it saying any special rule. Does that mean I get to eat like a lot? Like I can eat a lot without feeling bad?
Oh, well, I've never been to this particular establishment before, but if it is free, then, well, then at least we can have a round of it. If there is perhaps, you are still hungry, of course, I would be happy to treat you to many of the fine delicacies of this city. Gosh, it has been so long since I've had the chicken parmesan.
Ooh, that second word sounds tasty.
Oh yeah, it is quite different than what you would find in the marches.
Come on.
And as you enter, you see the same thing I described for everybody, except now you see that there are three very, very eccentric-looking people talking at a table. One of them is clearly a hobgoblin, but of some mixed heritage because she has horns and a tail. But she obviously reminds you of the people in Drungdo, as well as there is this massive pink man who's he's garbed much more like maybe most people in the steppes where outside of your mountain range, they dress, they wear a fair amount of clothes from all their riding and the open terrain and stuff. This guy looks like he's probably from an area where the weather must be very friendly to be able to be so stripped down. But he does have this massive pair of antlers coming out of his head, and it must just be a similarity in culture or something, because he also seems to have these gold style scars that you saw that people in Drongdo had, but he's obviously not goblinoid. And then
it's okay, I explore other cultures sometimes too.
And then there
Culturally
is a small little
appropriating.
pink satyr girl who's listening to these two people yap to each other. But there are 3 open tables and the bar.
Um, do we need to, Mr. Jacob? Do we need to check if it's? Do we just sit and eat? Do we have to check in with like a front person or like bar person?
Oh, well, I don't know how this particular place does it. And he looks around kind of like, it does not seem that there is a designated place for them to find you and take you to your table. So I presumably we could just go to whatever table we desire.
Would we go to that table? They have people there. And like Nafisa's from a culture where you are actively encouraged to just sit next to people, regardless of whether or not you know them. So just like the idea of Jacob looking at her and her just fucking Wojak pointing at the party.
Oh, well, it's normally that is not how we do things here as a federation. It's rude to walk up to people you don't even know and simply sit yourself at the table. But if you wish to perhaps introduce yourselves, then we could maybe go from there.
Yeah, we've met so many nice people on our journey. I mean, what's like 30 more? And they're gonna make their way over to the very special table.
Everybody, you see this fairly tall woman. She's taller than Feng and taller than Aurora, but shorter than Soleil. Approach with this, he's probably like, I think I said he was like 5'8" or something, 5'8", 5'10". Human man who is very much being powered entirely by just perpetual motion from all the things he is carrying as he kind of gangly like wiggles behind her as he moves.
So should I describe myself now, DM?
Yeah, describe yourself, Nafisa. You can describe yourself.
Yeah. So, like I've said, Nafisa is a pretty tall woman. I think like 6 foot on the dot. I can't remember the height chart we made.
Yes, it was 6 foot on the dot.
The silly height chart. You gotta tweet that out later. But yeah, she's a very tall woman wearing a lot of garb inspired from Central Asia, the Middle East, like most namely Turkmenistan. And if you guys can imagine that, have you ever been to like one of those European, like Eastern European carpet shops, or like just seen Eastern European carpet? She's kind of dressed like one of those. She's got different layers of clothing on her on her top, like different layers of robes, like a red one, then layered over with like a black jacketed one, embroidered and like covered in like patterns called kilim, which are like these patterns. They got meaning, and all of hers are like dragon themed and stuff. She has a bright red hijab that she ties into like a braid with several like iron flowers. Across her neck is a hawk medallion. She herself, it just looks human, with a simple head covering underneath the hijab, big baggy pants, and big simple hiking boots. And Nafisa is a package deal, and no one said no pets allowed. So she has a little friend named Nix, who is a Drake companion from the Drake Warden subclass. So like, imagine a small little Drake, like a dog-sized Drake, stone scales, gold trimming, no eyes, bits of fur and hair coming up between the scales, and a matching red neck scarf around her neck. Yeah, that's it. That's us. And if that's all, Nafisa's gonna walk up to the table and get like a little too close to strangers and just wave her hand and say, "Hi, I'm Nafisa. Could me and my friends sit with you guys?"
Yeah, I mean, of course. We got plenty of room here.
I
Okay,
see no reason not to.
okay. I am going to grab chair, and she's gonna go to like the next table over and just start like moving chair, like just picking up all 3 chairs and then moving them over for her, Jacob, and Nix. Take their seats. So hi, like I said, I am Nafisa. Is it okay if we eat with you guys too?
By all means, of course.
Yeah.
You see, Mr. Jacob, they are nice.
I love the markings on your whole outfit, actually. Not just any one part, everything.
Thank you, thank you. They all mean very special things from my culture.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I am from the Eastern Marches. I am from really far in the Eastern Marches.
Damn, girl. You traveled a long way to come all the way over here.
My tribe has a very my tribe has a very important journey. Anytime people reach a certain age, then they can decide for themselves to see the outer world. And I am at an age, and I would like to see the outer world. So I am here. Mr. Jacob, do you want to say things about yourself?
Oh, you see Jacob attempts to bow, and you swear there is a moment where you feel that the sheer weight on this man is going to cause him to capsize over as he bows. But he is able to, like, do it, and then as quickly as he goes forward, he rocks back, and it seems that the weight has countered once again. As he goes, yeah, I am Professor Jacob Hasselbach. And I have been so lucky as to be traveling with the little Nafisa for much of this time, and it is quite the honor that you have decided to allow us to have a meal with you.
What university are you from?
I am from the Serene Republic University of Venonia.
Okay, pleasure to meet you. My name's Aurora.
Oh, he kind of wobbles to the side for a moment, and you see he slides off some of his bags onto a chair before he wobbles to the other side and slides off some more. And he will take your hand, and he kind of like lifts it up like he was going to like kiss it, but he doesn't understand like if that's like a thing you still do these days. And he just kind of like bops it against his forehead as he bows on it and goes, "Oh, it is a pleasure to meet you, Miss Aurora."
She's giving him this like look of like, you are so not my type right now.
No fail, man. No fail, man.
It's a pleasure. You folks want to introduce yourselves too?
Absolutely. My name is Soleil, and quite the traveler myself. I'd be curious to swap some tales with you, Miss Nafisa. And as for you, and he's gonna look at Jacob, just next time you need help with something, just ask. There's always someone bigger to take care of things for you.
He kind of does this like awkward blush and goes, "Oh, well, yeah, of course. I'm used to plenty of very large people where I've spent the last 15 years studying. But when you are taking these burdens on yourself, it is all of your things, not other people's popping. And you've got to only kind of get this kind of mentality about yourself where you must carry the burdens that you have created in this world."
You need another big man to study?
He looks you up and down, gulps.
Mr. Jacob has seen many big men and has gotten help from many big men along the journey.
Is that
Thank you for the offering. There's Artaban. He's a big lizard man. There's Damir. He's a big guy. And she's gonna be like overly familiar and just list names of people that she doesn't realize you guys don't know him. She's just gonna recount.
I mean, you're pretty big yourself, girl.
Mr. Jacob and well, I guess more so my aunt and uncle were very like strict on like how much I could do. And Mr. Jacob's kind of been teaching me since I was like, and then she holds her hand over the ground to like insinuate like child status. Oh, and I'm sorry, I was distracted by I had like a flashbang from Soleil. Feng said her name too, right?
Not yet.
I don't think she has.
Okay, good.
I am Feng-chen Wong. A pleasure.
It is a pleasure to meet you. Oh, and Nix, you gonna say something?
Nix, you see the little drake kind of paddles forward, and Despite not having eyes, it looks at all of you guys, just kind of moves its head left to right. You see its little tongue flop out for a moment. It puts its front claws on the table as it kind of holds itself up and looks at you guys, and it says something to the because none of you speak vulgar Draconic. Am I correct?
Correct.
I don't believe so. No.
Okay, so you hear something that sounds like "Grazie totat buchkar gurati," and Nafisa hears that it says, "Oh, you guys smell pretty good," and then it kind of does a little blep out as it flops back down onto the ground.
Yes, that's right, Nix. They do smell very nice.
She's the cutest thing.
That's a pretty funny looking dog you got there.
Yes, she's a very silly looking dog, but she is a very important family member to me. Now,
You were saying that you were journeying for something?
yes, I want to see many places and do many things at those places. So, you start somewhere. Mr. Jacob here had to go back home because he spent so long in our tribe that he needed to tell people why they should keep funding his studies, right? But yes, so I figured I'd go with him, a good excuse to stretch the legs, and then who knows? I'm just gonna go around to look for things, look for people, maybe take people with me. I don't know.
Well,
Oh.
we've all met each other just for the first time today, so you're just as familiar with this whole situation as we are.
Ah, perfect. We are all unaware of our situations. Do you guys want to join me?
What, just like leave and travel?
I mean, you all seem pretty cool so far. You all like and she's like turning around, looking back at the sign. Ente pasta? Sounds tasty. If you have good taste, that means you're good people, right?
Oh. I don't know about that, but I wouldn't say no to company.
Jacob's gonna put his hand on Nafisa's shoulder and go, well, Nafisa, perhaps we should have a meal and sit down for a bit before we decide to do lifelong journeys together."
Okay, Mr.
Oh.
Jacob, we can eat first. That was the plan anyways.
Please, by all means, tell us everything about yourselves.
Well, I like the color red. Do you guys like red?
Yes, I would say it's perhaps not a gold or a purple, but red is certainly a very fetching color with the right complexion.
Aurora kind of taps her glasses and just like, quite fond of it myself, though every color's got its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose you would make a rather good example of that complexion, wouldn't you?
I would suppose so. I mean, I got basically every color on me in some way, shape, or form. And I just want to note, she probably raises her hands, and you notice one of them is lacking in color. The left hand is completely devoid of any color. It is gray.
Nafisa's gonna do that like as a kid, you don't know not to touch stuff yet. Yeah, Nafisa's gonna like slowly reach out with her finger towards Aurora's hand. Until like if she doesn't stop, she's gonna poke it.
Can I help you? I mean, if you
Yes.
want to hold my hand, you can just ask.
I mean, we're not lost or anything, so don't worry. I don't need to hold your hand, but it's a different like. Did you paint your hand?
Something like that. I paint my hair, so.
Oh, you can paint hair? And she like looks back at Jacob like he's not told her that hair dye's real.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think my hair is naturally like a rainbow going down here, do you?
Yes, you are a very rainbow person. You should have rainbow hair.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's just, this is something my pa taught me.
Oh, your pa taught you?
Mm-hmm.
That's sweet.
Yeah, he was always real sweet.
Hmm. How long has it been since you've seen your pa?
A while.
Then we should add it to the list of places we should go to.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, we should.
I don't really think it's necessary.
Okay, but if you change your mind, it goes on the list.
And besides, we got lots of other people here that I'm sure have destinations in mind.
Absolutely. How hunting?
I'm sorry, you cut out there, Meris.
How do y'all feel about monster hunting?
Uh, I mean, hunting is fun. What makes it the monster hunting, though?
Just like what I said, monsters,
She's
evil
like,
creatures, shadow beings, demons.
oh, you mean like in stories?
I
Those kinds
mean,
of monsters.
yeah.
Oh, okay. We can just call that hunting, yeah?
Thank you. I shouldn't have to differentiate.
Mm-hmm. Nafisa's gonna like stare at Soleil now, who is now the conversation target, and then also do the same thing she did to Aurora, where she's staring at him a little too long, and then you see the finger approach the mask.
No, hold on, darling. If you
Did you grow that? Is that natural or is it dyed like Aurora's hair?
well, my hair.
No. And she's like taking her hands to like mimic the snout, like the mask on your face.
Oh no, it's a mask. It's a symbol of my position. Also, kind of fitting considering he taps his antlers.
And
Those
what
those are
position are you
attached.
taking?
Missionary.
You
Yeah,
didn't strike me as a religious sort.
Oh no, that's because it ain't religious. It's it's a matter of pride, showing my position as a hunter in the wild hunt.
um, everybody can make history, nature, arcana, or religion, whatever applicable in knowledge skill that you want to use.
19.
oh man, I'm proficient in history. Damn.
That's you hate to see it. You hate to see that seven.
I rolled one nat 20 during my origin session. It's all downhill from here.
Quick roll one for Jacob, so Nafisa can know.
All right, I'm gonna
Jacob spilled the tea.
raw dog this d20. Oh,
There you go.
he is an academic, an anthropologist. He has this random lore. So everyone but Nafisa, literally everyone but Nafisa at this table. Well, plus Nyx. Nyx doesn't know any better.
Next wouldn't care.
You know that, like, obviously he can't be serious because the only like wild hunt that people know about is one of the courts of the Fae, of the like true Fae. The wild hunt under King Oberon travel across the world and presumably planes, hunting and slaying and reveling, and it would be preposterous to assume that this random dude at this bar is somehow like a part of the actual wild hunt. At best, you would suspect he might be like a pack sworn to the wild hunt and to Oberon, but like that's most likely what it would be.
Oh, do you like hunt there?
Of course. That's
Oh,
kind of what I do.
I must say,
that's
I didn't take you for the royal sort. You seemed more salt of the earth.
Well, that's on account that I got my mother's manners, so.
Well, as a future leader of a Suppose it would be best of me to practice my diplomatic graces now.
No, nonsense. Y'all don't gotta treat me different just because I'm not from this plane. Like any old guy, except I'm probably a lot stronger than you.
Certainly stronger than me.
That ain't saying much, Poindexter, but that's okay. I'd be happy to bench press you anytime.
You see him like kind of like splutter as he's like trying, like he was very surprised that you just said such a dick thing to him.
Yeah.
Hey, don't bench press. Don't bench press Mr. Jacob. He's very fragile.
I'll be very careful with him.
Hmm. And
So
since Feng
then,
was just oh god.
is the mask then a means of protecting your identity so you can walk amongst us common folk?
Oh no, I was wearing this before I dropped it here. This is
Okay.
just part of my ensemble.
I
So
mean,
is the mask your real face, or is it
God.
hiding it?
Oh, trust me,
Persona.
if anything, the mask is for your protection, because if y'all were to see what I truly look like, I can't have everyone falling in love with me.
your eyes do give it away a little bit, though.
We can certainly see about that. I look forward to seeing your mask and the mask you wear under that.
Maybe one
So-
day.
Since Feng brought up this conversation, Nafisa's gonna repeat what she did to Soleil and Aurora, and then stare at Feng a little too long, and then the finger starts motioning towards the metallic arm.
I think from having seen this twice and knowing that she has the opportunity to engage with the rule of three here, she acts nonchalant for a moment and then starts moving her own finger on a course to intercept it.
You do a
tip
little
to tip.
ET unity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nafisa's gonna stop until like she touches your metal hand, so they can intercept.
All right.
Did you grow this? It's so different.
Well, I was taught by a very dear friend of mine how to craft things like this. Not everyone has enough left over after moments of their lives to rebuild in such a lovely fashion as Mr. Soleil here demonstrates. For those people, I offer my services in crafting replacement.
You made this? This
I
is
think
beautiful. It is so well articulated and shiny, and it moves good. And it's like mine is all like fleshy and a little scaly, but yours is so firm, so strong, so good.
you flatter me,
You just
but
say
it will get you many places.
I say words, and these words are true. Yes,
you said your arm's scaly.
it's a little bit I showed it to Mr. Jacob once, and he called it eczema.
Eczema.
Yeah, but like other people back home are way more scaly. They're like, and she just holds up Nyx.
Nyx just has its tongue kind of like panting as Nafisa holds her up.
Wait a moment, then. From the Eastern Marches, are you like a dragon kind of thing?
I think so. Yes.
I apologize. We did learn a little bit about you in some of my history classes, but it's just surprising. You don't look the
Yeah.
part exactly, but I mean, I very much believe you. It's incredible.
My sister always called me a little undercooked.
That's not exactly the kindest thing to say to someone.
It's okay. She said it in Draconic. She meant it with. She was mean with it at first, but then she meant it with love. I
Well,
am her little undercooked omelet.
I certainly think you have been cooking yourself quite nicely. You're something of a full meal, I would dare say.
Yes, I was in the sun for quite a while crossing the desert. I imagine Mr. Jacob and I still have our tans.
Look at Mr.
Looking at the
Jacobs
pasty
just
German man.
entirely sunburnt.
Yes,
Yes, he was just completely red in the desert.
Nafisa likes the color red so much she brought a German man who was entirely red. Yeah, he looks quite sizzled. It's been a couple weeks since the desert, so it's been about a week since the desert, so he he's peeling in places, but
Oh, poor guy.
Um,
Get this man some aloe.
I think Aurora's like catching how flirtatious like Feng is being in this situation. Just like kind of gives her a look and say, I didn't expect to hear you kind of speaking sweet words to all of us like this. You seem a bit more reserved from what you're putting off.
I find in my prospective field it's best to not always be so easily expected.
Smart girl.
Well, a future overlord must be.
Oh, Overlord.
Like I said, big ambitions.
Yeah, we all got big ambitions.
Hmm.
Soleil over here wants to kill some demons, I think. You want to become an Overlord?
Oh, no. I'm quite happy with my place being a hound. I'm just trying to do a good turn.
You certainly seemed like a man to me.
No, hound is in the title. Not like points at Nyx.
as Nix goes, I'm not a hound. I'm a drake.
It's
Bless
okay,
you.
Nix. You are very special. Even Soleil recognizes that. That's why you are not a hound like he is. Speaking of hounds and like their stomach fucking growls.
As a lull of the conversation, one of the waitresses approaches and gives a big smile and said, "I did not want to interrupt, but would you like your antipasta now?
Yes.
And Miss, would you like the tea brought over?"
Yes, I daren't make too many assumptions of taste. How do you all take your tea?
Oh, I haven't had tea in a very long time. I wouldn't know.
Oh, let's bring out all the accoutrement then. See what fits my compatriots' tastes.
Nice spiced tea for me, if you please.
Of course. We live to serve. And you hear Jacob goes, well, could you perhaps bring some coffee? I haven't had coffee in so long. And she goes,
Mr. Jacob, you had some when we started the train trip.
yeah, but that was train coffee. The Tyroleans, they never know how to make coffee properly. But you get a proper cafe here in Vononia. Trust me.
Okay, Mr. Jacob. It's like a child understanding that they will never get the cup away from their father.
It was sort of a moment of like disconcernment I think that Feng feels at this. I don't think she necessarily feels a bad energy, but it's just the staff here seem friendlier, perhaps, than just what would be expected of someone working in the service industry and looking for tips. And the way that they phrase it as living to serve seems a bit much.
Well, after a few minutes, the waitress will return with several cups of tea and coffee and like kind of a platter of honey and milk and creamer and like sugar and cinnamon as well for with spoons so people can season or add additional liquids to their beverage to their own preferences. And then she comes back and starts putting out each of your own sets of appetizers. And this stuff looks very different than what you're used to seeing, Nafisa, on your previous journeys.
Mm-hmm. It's so, and she's just like she knows how to use a fork, but she's like poking at the antipasta.
Oh, you don't gotta use that, by the way. As he grabs another like fistful of salami.
Jacob goes,
Oh,
"It is proper to use it, Nafisa."
Ugh, you sound like my mother.
Well, she sounds like a very instructed woman about modern sophistications and how to deal with the various niceties that you find yourself encounter with.
Yeah, you got the accent and everything too.
Damn.
If you're wondering what that's a reference to, you should watch the entirety of the Ashes of the Last War campaign.
Obsidia, with you having just finished Fantasy High Season 1 not too long ago, I can't help but think of Galir and Jacob being very similar in complete schlubs.
So far,
may get very lucky.
So far, Jacob has not said anything nearly as sad and routinely pathetic as Galir.
There are no beans on this man's shirt.
No yogurt.
No yogurt.
To be fair, some antipasti you don't exactly need to use utensils for. Gestures to like her like very small like fried cheese balls.
Well, that is true, but it is helpful to use the fork because that's where you do not get your fingers greasy at all.
Oh. I mean, yeah, of course. You fancy folk always want to add extra stamps to these kinds of things.
Listen, we evolved to have these digits for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You're so right, Soleil.
What'd you say, Nafisa?
I'm sorry, it's like hearing Aurora go, "You're so right," Soleil. I'm thinking of the fucking, I just got flashbang with the memes like, "Say it again, king." Yes, most food eaten back home is with our hands, like flatbread and other things. So, I mean, Mr. Jacob, they're saying I could, so maybe I could. And she just fucking sticks her hand in actual pasta.
Jacob.
Hell yeah, girl, fight the system.
His face scrunches. Well, who am I to tell you what to do, Nafisa? I've only been instructing you for the last 15 years of your life. It is nothing.
It is okay, Mr. Jacob. I will use a fork next time.
And he just kind of shakes his head as he lifts his coffee up, and as he takes a sip, his eyes like roll into the back of his head, and you have this like feeling like he has just had ambrosia of the gods.
Oh, Mr. Jacob.
That good, huh?
Oh, it has been so long since I've had the roasted beans like this.
Well, I guess there's something for everybody.
Nyx puts her claws on the table as she leans over and extends her tongue out and grabs a piece of cured ham.
Yeah, that's fine. Nyx could just stand on a chair too, like. Nix is a family member. She can sit and eat at the table. Mm-hmm.
He starts munching.
Mm-hmm. So, what are you all going to do after, eating and stuff?
Well, probably stay in town a few days. Grab some of the supplies I came in for, and then be on my way.
Supplies, that's really smart. Yeah, I'm trying to she's eating, all right? She's not gonna wait to just finish eating and talking.
No, I mean, yeah.
Obsidia creating her own nightmare of
Food
sound.
RP obs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm running low on paint, so gotta make sure to get the good stuff.
Oh, do you paint? Like things that aren't your hair?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my! Oh, can I see?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't really have any finished pieces on me at the time. Just finished selling one off. That's sort of why I got the money to buy the paint.
Oh, that's okay. When we travel, if you make new things, you can show me.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I
Mhm.
mean, you can probably find some of them around town and such as you travel through the UFAS.
Oh, are you famous?
Oh, I wouldn't say famous, but I
No, you
mean,
must be super important. My sister would like you.
important's a strong word.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I mostly draw like landscapes and such. Like to capture the environment around me. It's quite different than home.
Where do you call home?
Oh, there's like a noticeable hesitation realizing that she's amongst people from the UFS. Eh, I'm from Erixia.
Oh,
Jacob
my
does a very visual.
condolences.
Oh.
Soleil nodding like he definitely understands.
Oh, that's the pretty place. Mr. Jacob told me it has pretty places in it.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Yes, it's admittedly it's been quite a long time since I was there, but I do remember there were several pretty places. Presumably, it has gotten much prettier since the war.
Sure. Gives him like a very stern glare.
He looks very concerned and scared, and then just goes right back to sipping his coffee, looking down.
No, but I haven't really been back to Erixia since the war. Kind of a bit of a sore subject. Gives him another side eye.
Well, when it's not so sore, we will have to go see it.
Yeah, no, I think it would be good to go back eventually.
Mm-hmm. I really want to meet your dad if he thought you had to do your hair like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, both my dads were quite creative.
You. Oh, wait, no. Two dads are normal. Did they both teach you?
They taught me some things, one bit more.
That's 2 times the teaching. That's so much. Do you guys have two dads? As she looks to Soleil and
No, I just got the one. Two
Oh,
moms, though.
it's a
She's
bit
counting on her fingers.
complicated. It's a bit complicated with goblinoid society. Technically, I suppose I only have the one, though in practicality, roughly half of a village, so to speak.
That's a lot of moms.
Oh my god, there's so many. I got an auntie, I got an uncle, I got a sister, I got a papa, I got a mama. Oh, I found out I had a grandpa. That was fun. I guess my mama had to come from somewhere.
I should hope so.
That is how that works, I find.
At this moment, those of you who are more arcane proficient, you notice a thaumaturgy spell is being cast as all the lights in the place go out. And you see the door slam open to this restaurant. And there is an enormous figure standing in the doorway that you hear the heavy footsteps as they take a step into this darkness. Seems that much of their form is obscured by some kind of, large cloth, perhaps, some kind of, like tarp or something has been put over them. And then you see that you hear, "Do not fear, for there is no reason for concern, for I come in peace as an emissary of justice." And you see the thaumaturgy activates again as all the lights spring into life, and this, what is now clearly a cape, a very royal purple cape, in front of this person's face is thrown aside as this 7-foot tall, plate armored man looks to be a dragonborn with these silvery purple scales along his cheeks and nose, very spiky, wild, short purple hair, and this purple and maroon and gold armor with draconic motifs on it, and his cloak seems to be still billowing behind him, and as you look closer, you see that he has a long, scaled tail, which is kind of wiggling behind him, keeping the cloak billowing, as he puts his left hand above most of his face, with just his thumb and pointer finger covering the bottom half of his face and just showing his eyes as he goes, "But I have come here to grace you with my presence. But who is this dashing figure you see, standing so heroically before you? Well, you have likely heard of my exploits. It is I, the great paladin Lunis, the champion of the poor, the hero of the less fortunate, and the defender of those too weak to face the horrors of this world. And I have come searching for a treasure which I have spent many hours pursuing. Supposedly, there is an establishment which has none other than free antipasta to any new guest who bestows their presence upon it, and as long as they will see said free show of entertainment. And I will now tell you that such beseechments, such quests and yearnings have been satiated, for I, Lunas, am here, and I have come to feast." And he throws his hands to the side, and everyone just looks at him very confused.
Oh my god, I love him.
Nafisa's gonna grab a plate of pasta and while eating it with her hands, just walks up to him and goes, "Oh, we have free antipasta at our table. You want to come over?"
He looks down at you, and I have to show you guys a picture of this, of at least the head of this man.
Yeah. Show us the boy.
Bring him out. Bring him out, DM.
Blocking
There
the
he
chat
is.
is the picture of the great paladin Lunas. He
That's
does have
the
a
tail,
single.
too.
He has a single earring on his right ear, which appears to be some kind of long tooth, which has been encased in a base of gold rung into his ear. And he looks down at you, Nafisa, and you see his kind of head cocks to the side for a moment as he kind of sniffs the air and goes, "Well, then, you seem to have a particularly unusual odor about you, but he looks upon the table of the rest of your companions and the food and has been brought. But I will at least give you this opportunity to hear you out and perhaps see through this otherwise olfactory assault and partake upon such company that you have enthralled yourself with.
Her nose is gonna wiggle and turn about her nose and says, yeah, it's okay, you smell weird too, but we don't have to talk about it. There are other important qualities in a person. She's just fucking shoveling more pasta down while just staring him down, and then turning to walk back to the table.
You see, Ludus, he doesn't walk. He triumphantly strides forward.
Oh my god.
As he approaches your table and he sees you all there and he swoops a hand across his heart as he bows almost, you would say, impossibly low given the full plate armor he is wearing, as he looks up at you as he lifts the hand and says, "It is truly an honor and a pleasure to be able to meet your acquaintances. I am always finding myself intrigued by the prospects of such unusual characters striding into my path and perhaps into my life in ways which I have yet to know. But knowing is half the battle, and I intend to win this fight." And he throws his cloak back as his tail slings a chair behind him, and he rests in the most bisexual pose with his arm on one of the arms of the chair and one leg sitting on the chair itself as the other leg springs in front of him on the ground, his cloak covering the back of the chair, as he looks over at you all and goes, "Well, I have done my introduction, and while I have smelled the more malodorous elements of your entourage, perhaps you all could as well grace me, bestow me with this new lore as to your own nom de guerres."
God, you are so adorable.
Just don't talk to him about his. She's kind of whispering to the people next to her, don't talk to him about his smell. He seems really touchy about it.
No, I mean, I'll do it. I'll go first. My name's Aurora. It's a pleasure to meet someone so confident in his entrances here.
He springs forward is the best way to put it. Is his right arm sweeps under your gray hand as he quickly brings it to his lips and kisses it, as he's got these bright green sclera with these very clear draconic slit emerald green eyes, as he looks up at you and goes, "Charmed." And then as quickly as he has lowered it from his lips, his right hand is back to just resting on the arm of his chair.
Oh, Aurora's biting her lip, looking at him. Says, "Absolutely charmed as well."
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Soleil.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
He will then, turn, because Soleil is the largest one here, and he changes this pose on his chair to a much more his legs are spread, aggressively leaning forward, one palm resting on the arm as his right arm is resting its elbow on it, the hand kind of on the table itself. As he looks at you, his eyes narrowing, and says, "You look to be a capable warrior, and perhaps, given the blades at your hips, that you have come here looking for not simply the free antipasta, but also perhaps the beginnings of your own adventure?"
What, the astute observation, my friend.
"Ha ha ha! That is I! Quite the observant judge of character and of potential foes and rivals on the battlefield."
Are we to be friends or foes?
He leans in closer to you. Like, he is, he's a big dude, so he's much more like halfway across the table with his chest as he, looks at you, Soleil, up and down, looks you dead in the eyes and says, "Such things are normally determined entirely off of how one carries themselves and how one handles the victuals that they must confront themselves with to restore their strength. Perhaps this will be the first of our challenges."
Perhaps so. You do have a certain way with words that I think far exceeds the capabilities of anyone else here at this table. But perhaps I could challenge you in other ways.
And Ludus kind of moves his right hand to kind of be like thumb and trigger finger, in the kind of an L underneath his chin as he rubs at some of his scales, and he looks very like smug with his eyes closed as he's kind of chuckling to himself and goes, "Indeed, I think that we could face ourselves in many tests of arms and strength, but I think that such things can only be appropriately determined once I have had an opportunity to fully assess the potential opponent I find before myself."
So it's adventure you're looking for, is it?
Ha ha ha! Of course! Adventure is the call of every knight-errant who finds his spirits raised to the heavens searching for anyone who would look out seeking justice in this world that too often finds themselves broken down before the yokes of tyranny and oppression.
You want to join us then?
What'd you say?
You want to join us then?
He kind of looks over at Nafisa and does a bit of a curled lip and goes, "Well, I have joined you at your table. Whether you find yourselves worthy of any future companionship is something I have yet to determine," as he points at her.
Oh, so you'll be joining us, okay. She just goes back to eating her pasta.
Real quick, DM,
Yes.
Can I do like an insight check on Lunas to see if he actually, just by, looking at his physique and his armor, his weaponry, is this a guy who actually knows how to fight, or is he all bravado?
One thing note, he does not have any visible weapons on him right now.
Okay.
But you can make an insight check.
That's an 18.
That's a very good insight. You could tell his armor is, like, kind of outlandish in its ornament, like, with all the draconic designs and stuff. There's clearly several flaws in how this thing would actually, like, perform structurally when faced with, getting hit by weapons and stuff. It looks very ceremonial. However, he is 100% genuine about every single thing that comes out of his mouth. And he will then turn to look at Feng and be, You look to be one who carries herself with a rakish air to her demeanor. You wouldn't happen to be somebody perhaps trying to seek the undoing of the people at this table, as he slams his hand against the table.
Well, I certainly don't know what your standards of impropriety are, but was I incorrect in hearing that you already swore yourself in service to those in need?
Of course, whenever somebody will find themselves victims of the oppressive and villainous forces of the world, I will do everything I can to stand for them, to fight against the monsters that are braying, trying to create a drowning out of the light. I will be the very shining example of what true good, heroism, and honor can do in this world, and for one thing and one thing only, to know that the world is a better place for what I have done.
Will
Then
we?
you are several things, my good sir. And she covers her face with her hand, turning away slightly. You are very noble. You are delightful company. And you are foolish in equal quantity. And she dramatically unveils from her robed hand her character mask. For you have now sworn your service, soul and all, to the perilous Feng-chen Wong.
Oh, snap. You see, he springs out of his chair, and his tail slaps it away from him as just materializing out of thin air. You see this enormous, like 9 foot tall, like calling it a spear is like calling a cannon a pistol. This thing is enormous with a great like arrowhead shaped blade with this like starburst, like magical glowing like enchantment in it, runes up and down it, as he throws back his cape with his left hand with the spear in the right, and strikes almost like a Phoenix Wright objection pose, but with a spear in his hand, as he snaps it to point, and this thing is now across the table directly in front of Feng's face as he goes, "Think very carefully about your next words, or they may potentially be your last, villain."
Oh, I dare say this is not very becoming of a host. What was that about hospitality and the standards thereof? I'm sure you wouldn't want to disgrace this fine establishment with such churlish behavior, especially not to your new employer.
Everybody, please make insight checks.
You got it, DM.
All right.
Soleil is just looking at the table.
Natural
like,
one. I got pasta.
Clearly, I got a 9.
Pasta,
Clearly, I have
pasta.
missed
21.
something.
I got an 18 somehow.
Yeah.
Loser.
We love to see it.
With my -1.
Soleil and Nafisa see that Lunas is standing stalwart and steadfast in the face of this. Fog and Aurora sense that when you mentioned the fact that he is not acting very hospitable after he specifically talked about good manners, there is like an almost like childlike kind of like panic, as if he just like did something incorrect that he was supposed to be like. I said I was supposed to do this correctly, but then have I messed up? Am I being rude? But
Oh, honey.
he very quickly turns and takes his left hand and raises it to his temple as he closes his eyes and just does this very smug expression as he snaps the spear back out of existence and goes, "Well, it seems that you have at least bought yourself by the completion of this meal for your miserable villainous life. And so I will not be known as somebody who reneges on what I have set out to do, nor will I be known as somebody who reneges on the very common courtesies of what noble bearing and noble peerage requires. So for this meal we shall find ourselves in an accord, a parley, if you will." As he slings his chair back underneath him and sits back in it.
Now, I understand there's a lot of stuff I don't understand about how y'all behave. I feel like I've missed something mighty important
No,
here.
I'm right there with you, dear.
Oh, I was merely engaging in a light bit of fun.
Did you
Though,
win?
of course, Well, I don't know. I have yet to see if this brave paragon of virtue is able to persuade me away from my wicked ways.
Well, I mean, we can get into wicked ways and paragons and discussing all that stuff. Let's try and keep it a little bit quiet, at least for.
Everybody is, of
For the
course, staring
evening.
at this like massive spectacle that just happened. The various elves working here seem to just, they took it in stride. They just kind of were
Right.
watching as it played out.
My apologies, were we not the entertainment?
I mean, I figured, considering I was the first one in here, that all of you here were here to see the show as well.
As was I. Fancied it a bit of interactive theatre.
We can eat during the show, yes?
Most of the times, these kind of things, yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna keep eating.
Poor Jacob has just looked at all this in horror as you saw his teacup shaking, his coffee, splattered left and right as he watched this all go down by this enormous, like, draconic man.
He's seen plenty of big people back home. This should be nothing for him.
Yeah, but they
Nafisa
weren't-
is not worried about
They
him.
weren't, like,
Yeah.
waving weapons at the table to each other.
Yeah, Mr. Jacob will get used to it. Nafisa's got some food.
Nix
Aurora would
turns
also
to
probably-
Nafisa and goes, he seems mean. I don't like the way he smells.
Yeah, and Nafisa speaking back in vulgar Draconic. Yeah, he's a little weird, a little stinky, but we meet many people while we travel.
You
We
see,
make many.
Ludus
Yeah.
turns to look at you and goes, I am not the one who is malodorous here! And he's
I
saying
don't
this in
know.
vulgar Draconic, and so the rest of you hear, Shakaris Coquino!
Oh yeah, Nafisa's gonna speak back in vulgar Draconic now that someone else can, and just says, what's a Middle Eastern colloquialism for smelling like horse dung? That's what she would say
Wow!
back. But it's okay, like, we if we travel together, we could find a shower, you could try it.
He shakes his head and goes, the kind of people I would expect to cavort with so-called self-proclaimed masterminds is that Feng-chen.
Oh, so y'all know each other.
Never met him before.
Oh, they said that in Draconic, and then just Fung's name was audible.
No, he will say that. He says that in vulgar Wayfair.
Okay. I mean, you're still at the table with us, and like, one's a conqueror. I am, as you call, smelly. You are also, as you call, smelly. But there's also a rainbow, and she points to Aurora, and then pink, as she points to Soleil. Friend, as she picks up Nyx, and then points to Jacob. Jacob's a fucking jittery mess right now. She doesn't know what word to use.
A man.
Yes, a man. That is what he is. But yes, Mr. Lunas, it's okay. It's okay. You are a little different, but the world is different.
I want to add that Aurora has kind of like disengaged a bit from the conversation and is actively like kind of like scooched back in the seat and just quietly like muttering to herself like, "Oh, I know. Just a little bit longer before we call it."
Now, Lunas, it seems like you abide by a certain set of unshakable principles. Is there a certain outcome you're hoping for here? Certain quarry you're looking for? I happen to be an expert at tracking.
He turns to look at Soleil and goes, the kind of talents I would expect from a potential rival. To answer your question, I do find myself utterly incorruptible as I'm thoroughly and inexplicably, intimately bound by my oaths and code. But as for why I have found myself here, what particular call to adventure has brought me here, what lure to this table specifically, well, I think that the answer to that is plain. I came for the free antipasta.
That I can agree with. This is very good antipiste.
That's it.
Well, you don't always find yourself, I was recently found myself back in town, and after visiting my parents, I thought it would be appropriate to go take a walk around town and perhaps get something to eat myself. And so, when you're between such adventures, such crusades of justice, well, it could never hurt to go to a place that has free antipasta and a show.
I can't fault your logic there. What sort of conquests have you achieved in your time as a noble paladin?
I don't think of what I do as conquering. I don't have any conquests. I'm more of a hero. What I'm doing is inspiring, what is uplifting people. I have journeyed across much of the Federation, striking down bandit bands that seek to assail the men and women traveling the roads of our fair nation. I have also found myself briefly for a time at sea, on one of the mighty indomitable ships, facing down the many serpents and beasts that lurk beneath the waves, etc.
A beast slayer, then. I think that, given your credentials, I think we could be of use to each other. I'm tracking down some pretty, powerful beings myself.
Oh, well, if that is the case, then perhaps we could form at least a alliance of convenience as we work in tandem to take down bigger prey that may be threats beyond simply what could be inflicted by you or I alone.
Hey, you know how Nafisa was like doing the thing to all the party
Yep.
members, staring at the Pokken? Yeah, Luna's earring happening.
You're reaching over to his earring.
Yeah.
As you reach, he's currently looking towards Soleil, and you see his hand just snap into action as he seemingly very quickly and very firmly, but also very delicately, holds your finger in midair. As his eyes slide to the right to look at you.
Oh, did you lose a baby tooth?
Everybody please make insight checks.
You got it, boss. Another nat 1 coming right up. Not 20, artificial 20.
17.
7.
Pay no attention to the 0 on the other side. It's a 13.
Yep. So everybody but Feng, you clearly see his face flushes red a little bit as he kind of sputters out. Of course not, a baby tooth. Laughable! A hero such as I would not carry around a baby tooth with me. This is from one of the many monstrous foes I've defeated.
Oh, I keep mine in a little safe jar back at home. Although I never really came to me to like keep it on an ear. Oh wait, oh no, that is something you got from a monster you hunted. Soleil, do you keep teeth?
Teeth aren't exactly my thing. I mean, I keep pelts and claws and heck, usually we just eat them.
Eating the teeth of your foes? Truly!
No, not the teeth!
I was about to say, that is quite the feat. I would be most impressed with such a capability.
I suppose that would be a pretty good intake of calcium, though.
I'm assuming Lunas is holding Nafisa's finger like the whole fucking time now, right? Yeah.
Yep. And as you're about to pipe up something next, you see that the lights go out for a moment as a series of very very kind of like pixie lighted blues and greens and purple lights kind of come out from the floor and center onto the stage, where you see there is a flash of light as a large cloaked figure is holding this enormous tome in their hands. And you hear a voice coming from the bartender saying, and now the time has come for the show. I would ask everyone to please listen raptly and know that audience participation is required. And as the cloaked figure opens up this book, they look up from it, and as they now look at you all in the room and narrow to you guys specifically, you see they have these blazing orange cat's eyes that light up into the abyss of their cloak as a very gnarled bandaged finger runs along some words in the book as you hear the voice say, "Once upon a time, there was a little prince," as it looks at Ludus, "and his wicked knights," as it looks at the rest of you. And with that, you guys all feel the world go dark, and Aurora, you feel that there is an energy trying to surge around you in that moment, but apparently it is too quick or too powerful and is unable to stop what happens next. As you guys blink once more, and you find yourselves in a unsettling forest of these otherworldly trees and plants. And it is just the four of you.
Okay.
I would love to ask, because Aurora would immediately check to her shadow.
Your shadow is there.
Is it still following as it should?
Yes, it is still following as it should.
Okay.
And I still have Nyx, right?
Yes, Nyx is also there.
Okay, so
The four of you
right.
heroes plus
Good.
Nyx.
R.I.P. Jacob, though.
But Jacob is not there. Neither
He's not
Lucas
a
nor
knight.
Jacob is there.
Can we get some Fs in chat for Jacob?
Some
Let him
07s for Jacob.
Let him finish his fucking coffee, goddamn.
And you hear this kind of like very distant voice say, "And as the wicked knights wandered the fairy queen's forests, they knew that their master's punishment was upon them, for he had deceived the fairy queen, and she would not take the slights of he or his people any more."
Oh no, please don't punish me, Faye.
Oh, goodness. I had no idea you were such a sinner yourself, Mr. Lunis.
He's not here. It's the four of you plus Nyx. Oh, unless you're just speaking into the void about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I want to also add that Aurora is actively really scared. She is very disengaged and just debating. Like, you see her grab her little, like, walking stick and is, like, kind of glancing about, concerned.
Are you quite all right?
Would you like to try that hand-holding thing?
I don't know. Let's get the hell out of here right now.
No, there ain't nothing to be afraid of. It's just a little Faye nonsense.
I know, but this whole situation is not comfortable.
Very well.
She
Needn't
said it.
say more.
Let's get moving. Soleil, you're familiar with this sort of thing, right? Do you know in which way to go?
Oh, well, no, every sort of, Fey illusionary, it's kinda different. So, like, this forest here, this weird, Technicolor world, this looks nothing like, this looks nothing like where I'm from, so, I mean, they're probably just gonna keep us here until, we do a little dance for them and a little bit of action, we appease them, and then they let us go.
Okay, then follow me. I'm good at finding like places I shouldn't in these forests. She like licks her finger and holds it up in the air, following her like what she learned back home when hunting, and just starts walking in a direction.
Everyone can make perception, investigation, or survival rolls, whichever is best.
All right.
Survival. Wait, I gotta check if I have a ranger feature for this. Rangers get so
Nat
much
20,
shit.
Jesus.
Oh man.
12.
She is investigating. I got an 11 for my survival.
Some
8.
hunter tracker you are. Good thing Ludus isn't here.
God damn.
Wow, you guys are not good at the things you're supposed to be good at.
Let's pay for it. It's
Listen.
different, all right?
Listen, I'm cocky.
Thankfully, Feng is here to show you guys. So, Feng, with your 27 off of your nat 20, you notice that everything about this place is wrong and fake. These trees and plants and stuff, they seem to be made of like cloth. Like they seem to be solid enough. If you go like knock on them and stuff, they do appear dense, but they feel like these are basically like carpets and like rugs and like drapes and stuff that have been shaped into these plant-like objects. And the rocks appear to be like pieces of concrete rather than like stones. And the ceiling is very like clearly, once now that you've looked closer at it, there's no moon despite it being dark. There is no sun, but there does appear to be like greenish colored sparkling stars, for lack of a better word, but they're the entire skyline of this place is actually seems to be made of stone, like it was a sewer above you. The one plus that Soleil has to this is that no matter how bad he is at what he's supposed to be good at, he is actually from the Feywilds and did see those orange cat's eyes, and you know that is a sign that someone is an urban court Fey. So that might be a connection point to this. But Feng has all of these things, like this is definitely, everything here is artificial and very much not natural, even in the Fey sense of natural.
Goodness, I can forgive trite storytelling, and I can forgive unwillingly forcing audience engagement, but I draw the line at subpar stagecraft. We have a falsified ceiling, repurposed interior decor for natural environments. Such a haphazard and terribly garish use of illusory magic. We are dealing, unfortunately, with a hack.
I don't think so.
Yes, this force is very well built. Soleil and I can't figure our way out.
If any of you know the way, just please go ahead. I'll keep watch on the backside.
But who will watch your backside?
Oh, don't you worry about that. I got someone.
You can watch my backside.
Nyx will kind of walk over to Aurora and kind of claw at her leg a little bit. Not like clawing at it, but kind of like
Just a
patting
little
at it.
paw.
Yeah. and we'll say, "Shortcut and Nafisa, you hear, well, I can watch your back if you want.
Oh yes, Nix, we keep a good eye on all of us.
I imagine Aurora would just kind of like say quietly to herself, you know what to do. 10 feet behind.
And Nyx will look back at Nafisa, nod, and kind of start scampering behind Aurora and stuff. Just kind of do it like circles around the party, kind of like a sheepdog.
Mm-hmm. Just like back home with the cattle.
Speaking of it being a natural night here, Nafisa, do you have dark vision?
No, DM. I do not get dark vision.
I have no dark vision either. So,
Oh, that's really interesting. I would have figured Satyr would. Aha!
It's
we
your
have enough
turn now.
All
Damn,
right.
that's crazy.
Well, I can assist with that at least. Feng takes out a tool that she has. It's a little panel in her forearm. She rolls up her sleeve, pops that open, and pulls out. It looks like a handle that has so many different possible expandable pieces of equipment or tools coming out of it. And let's see now if I get the resonance just right for you. Pulls one of them out, and it's a tuning fork. Oh, let's see what to cast this on. Let's go with. Does Nyx have a collar?
She's got a little bandana.
Yeah.
All right, that works. I tap that, and despite it being fabric, you hear a little. Ding. And I am using the +1 all-purpose tool to give myself the light cantrip, which I have cast on Nyx's bandana.
Okay.
Nix, you are glowing. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Nyx's bandana lights up, and she looks. She doesn't have the eyes, but her head kind of looks down for a second as her tongue kind of rolls out of her mouth, and she goes, "Am I glowing? Oh, jeez."
Nix, I didn't know you could glow.
She stands up on her hind legs and kind of paws at it a bit with her claws, and goes, "I can't touch it."
It's okay, we can't touch the sun either.
Well, that's a good point. And then she gets back down. You just hear, "Shakadera, oh, Krakati, Toya." And
okay, that's much better.
she is providing enough illumination for everyone. Lol. You do see
Thank you, DM.
In the distance, there is what would be best described as a false sunrise seemingly happening, but smoke is coming from it. Probably the sign of something burning in the distance.
Oh, we should go that way, yes? Fire means something's happening, right? Fire means people, right?
I would be a touch concerned with fire, as despite appearances, from what I can tell, we are not actually elsewhere. We are still within the interior of the restaurant.
That is not true.
It's not true?
No.
I thought you said
no,
that
it looks all artificial. It seems made of artificial, like it's made of things
okay.
from a city, but it is definitely not of this plane anymore.
Okay. My mistake then.
No problem.
I think we should go to the fire, because fire means people, and people could help, or people will hurt us, and if they're the latter, we should hurt them first.
I like that way of thinking. Straight shooting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you guys start heading towards the fire.
Yes. Almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna preemptively Armor of Agathis myself.
Oh, if we're getting a chance to buff ourselves, I want to
Well,
give myself long stride.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit before you get there. It's just to be
It
clear,
lasts-
it's not like in the
it-
next few minutes that you'll get there.
It
Long
lasts an
stride.
hour.
Yes, same. Let's go.
Okay.
We're gonna be doing this a lot. If that's okay, Obs. If
No,
it's not
it's
okay, I
fine.
can. Okay, gotcha.
And you hear above you the voice say, "And despite their best efforts, they were lost in the woods. Seemingly, the forces arrayed against them, the fairy queen would not allow them to save those that she sought to punish. Rather, she chose to save them for last. The hours will tick by, moment after moment, and they will be powerless before her might." And then you hear a scruffling coming from the clothy woods to your right. Like something is moving towards you.
Oh,
Does it sound bipedal?
Yep. Yep.
Quadrupedal?
Yep.
Bipedal?
man.
That's something bipedal.
Or woman?
Or woman. Also, Nafisa, could you please describe your axe to everyone? Just because it's a neat
yeah.
axe.
Yeah. I thought it'd be funny not to mention the axe that she brought into the restaurant until it was time for combat to shock everyone. But it is a like small tree with its roots wrapped around a rock.
Oh my god.
She dragged that fucking restaurant floor is dirty as shit. And scratched up. Yeah, but she carries it around. It's not too heavy, and it's like makes a loud thud whenever it like hits the ground.
Does anyone do anything aggressive as the thing is coming towards you?
I think draw blades, take a defensive position, wait to see what I'm actually up against before doing
Aurora-
anything too crazy.
Aurora sheepishly hiding.
Sheepishly.
Just gonna unbutton the connector at the shoulder of the sleeve so I can slide that off. Show the full prosthetic for the first time and prepare with that at least.
Okay, as you all ready, you see the woods continue to shake and move, and then finally popping into view is the horrible creature that is assailing you. As you look up, you see nothing. You slowly start looking down, and even shorter than Aurora, you see a small purple armored draconic looking person holding a fairly small spear with really big eyes, and he's got like a single fang that's sticking out of his upper lip as he's trudging through holding his spear, and then he looks up at you guys, and you just hear, "Where have we found ourselves? Who? What? Why are you so tall all of a sudden?"
Oh, so was I didn't mean that.
Oh, what happened to you?
Does he still smell the same to me?
Yeah, he smells the same. He's just very small. He's probably about 3 feet tall.
You are so tiny. Like Nafisa, very physical touching. Like she's just gonna pick him up if nothing's stopping her.
Hey! I am a noble paladin, hero of the people.
You are so tiny.
You're so small.
He does the little anime pout face with his fangs still sticking out. I have brought up a little picture I drew of him in his little chibi form here.
That's so good, Obs.
You hear a voice say, the same storyteller voice say, "What? That shouldn't be possible. The magic should prevent him from meeting." As the little prince met his wicked knights once more, they would join in unison in their futility to proceed to the village.
Feng clears her throat because now they've brought this into the realm of theater. That was their fatal mistake.
Oh no.
So she clears her throat and begins narrating as well. Little did the cowardly narrator realize the story had already long outgrown the silly little trappings of the realm they had created. And they would very soon be taught the futility of facing the one and only Feng-chen.
You hear no response.
That's all right.
Meanwhile, Lunas is being held up underneath his arms, poutily. What
So-
happened?
I was just about to ask you that. How'd you find yourself in such short stature?
I do not know how I found myself in such a situation. I was sitting with the rest of you, considering my potential heroic options during the meal and the show, when suddenly I found myself all alone in the woods, and I didn't know where I was, but I knew that adventure would lie beyond what I could simply view if I put my heart in the right direction.
I gotta be honest, friend, it seems like this whole ordeal seems to be targeting you particularly. Have you had any brush-ins with any Fey courts recently? Piss off by chance?
See, his eyes get really, really big and kind of upset. He goes, "No, I don't think so."
You don't think so? Because, like, some courts can be, like, pretty testy. So, like, even if you didn't mean to, you could have still possibly, pissed him off.
No, I don't know. I didn't anger anybody. I just got back from my mom's, and then I was gonna go get dinner, and I don't know about any fake courts that I could have made mad.
How about, before visiting your folks? Any run-ins? Any Fae? No?
Could you please put me down? This is very demeaning.
No, we got to move fast to the fire, and your legs are really tiny. It is okay. You looked down at us earlier, now we can look down at you.
He is not pleased.
Is he smaller than Nyx currently?
Technically yes, because he is small sized while Nyx is medium.
Might
about-
I propose a mighty steed for you then, good Sir Knight?
He scrunches up his nose as he looks at Nyx and the fact that he's being held by Nafisa and goes, "I will not demean myself to ride such unusually uncomfortable draconic beings."
Well, then you can walk.
How about a lift
No.
on my shoulder, buddy?
Yeah, that's good. You could hang on to Soleil like a little backpack.
I am not a backpack. I
Well,
am a
it's
noble
either-
paladin.
All right,
either-
come here, buddy. And he's just gonna pop him on top of his shoulder. Hang on tight, hold on to my antlers.
He's got your antler in one hand, his spear in the other, as he's on your shoulders.
See, now you're just as tall as you used to be.
I guess I will use this opportunity to survey the battlefield with greater alacrity.
That's the spirit.
You know when as they say, and she says in Draconic, when shit hits the fan. When that happens, you'll have to get off of Soleil. How are you going to do what you normally do when you're not so big?
I don't know. I think we will cross that proverbial bridge when we encounter it. I will do my best to defend and protect you. I know that you need such a heroic visage as myself to guide you in these trying times.
Yeah,
It's
he's
okay.
still got a spear. He can slash their ankles open.
Yeah, worst case, he can hide behind Aurora's backside.
I do not hide from battle. I face it grimly with determination.
None of us can take him seriously, can we?
He's just too cute.
Y'all are being awfully calm considering the situation, but please lead on.
All right.
Don't worry, Aurora. We'll beat up the bad guys and be back for the antipasta.
It takes you about 30 minutes to get through the woods. And as you get closer to the fire, you hear the screams. And now that you're there, you hear the storyteller say once more, "That should not be possible. They shouldn't have been able to make it to the forest edge so quickly, but they're clearly trying to rewrite my story. Well, I'll show them how this story ends." And as you look at there is a burning, very fairy tale village, and standing amidst it is this enormous, hulking, kind of hunched over construct of it almost looks like a Wicker Man, except that it is bent over and hunched with long, like talon-like arms, and it's made, instead of wicker or wood, it is made of steel bars and rebar and everything that have been twisted together. And there's enormous fire blazing within it, as you see that there are 3 circles in the village. Two of the circles are filled with what appears to be these wooden doll-like puppets, who are connected with these strings going off into like the void of the sky, as they, scream and panic as these fires are seemingly beginning to scorch and singe their wooden bodies. And you notice as you look closer at them that each of them looks like people who were present in the restaurant with you, and one of them is Jacob.
Ah! No!
My German boy!
Mach 9 German boy!
In the third flaming circle appears to be a large-sized, sleeping, like, dragon, like an actual fucking dragon. Where it's asleep, curled in a ball with its 4 wings draped over it and its tail in front of its face. It's got these very like purple and silvery scales with accents of maroon and gold, and it looks very familiar to a very specific paladin. But it is quite asleep, and this massive, steel construct reaches into one of the burning circles. It just grabs a random person. This time, not Jacob. And it just grabs the person who's, beginning to like singe and combust in its metallic hand, as it shoves them into this like metal grate in its chest where the fire blazes, and you see the person start to ignite. And the storyteller chimes in once more and says, "Well, despite the little prince and the wicked knight's best efforts, they found themselves powerless before the fairy queen's wrath, as she would burn the wicked village like all those who had burned her precious home before. And with that, she will get justice in this world, and will eliminate all of the traitors and abusers and monsters that pretend to call themselves knights and royalty." And with that, this construct sticks its 2 big claws into the ground and just grinds against metal as it turns its head to look at you 5. And with that, I'm going to take you to a different screen, and you can roll initiative.
Oh, the initiative is real!
Lunas, are you sure you didn't piss anybody off?
Oh my god.
They sound mighty upset.
So
where do you want us to? Oh,
you can put yourselves in the blue box at the bottom, just to show everybody where people are setting themselves up in. There is this large wicker man. These are the people, the wooden dolls. Blue is the Jacob doll. And then there is the dragon in its 3rd flaming circle. So once you guys have established where all you're placing yourselves in the start zone, please click your tokens and roll initiative. Let me get turn order. All right, so there's the 4. God damn, Aurora. That
You know what's helping.
that alert is quite
Oh
strong.
my god, a cheat feed.
A certain someone is always watching out for her.
We love cheaters in this house.
Oh my god.
And then I have to add one more as he goes on a 1. Okay. So with this, you now have your turn order in place, and we will find ourselves locked in combat next time. Go back here.
Yay, first combat. We got all the battle rolls out, right? You guys got your nat
Yeah,
ones out
right,
at a
right,
time?
right.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
But yes, that'll be it for tonight. Thank you all so much for coming to the very first session of Nexus Forlorn Legacy. I hope you guys had a lot of fun tonight. I hope my players had a lot of fun.
Always.
Of course.
I want more antipasta.
If you haven't done so already, please go follow all of these wonderful players. Also, you can go to their Twitches, which will take you to their various social medias. Like Lily largely performs, artwork and stuff on Twitter and everything. So go check them out. They're all amazing. You could also go check out the origin sessions of the campaign if you haven't done so, and see, a one-on-one session with each one of these characters and how they led to session 1. Also, thank you guys for hanging out tonight. If you haven't done so already, please give me a follow here on Twitch, give me a sub over on YouTube, a follow on Twitter, and you could join my Discord, the Eternal Citadel, and be a part of my incredible community, and get way more Nexus Forlorn Legacy action in. That'll be it for tonight. We will try and reconvene in 2 weeks for the part 2 of Once Upon a Time, where our intrepid heroes will face down the urban fae Wicker Man and try and save the dolls that were once people and escape this nightmare fairy tale. All right, everybody, that's it for tonight. I might be streaming on Thursday. I don't know. I'll let you guys know more. We are gonna raid my good friend NJ Chef, who's doing a Pokemon Infinite Fusion. So if you're a follower, please copy down the call to hugs. If you are a sub, please copy down the Knight's message. Let's raid MJ Chef VT. Chef is a great Dragon VTuber and very silly, and also a big 40K fan, which is something I respect. And yeah, I hope you guys had fun, and I'm so excited to finally run this campaign after so many years of planning and structure. So have a great night, everybody, and thank you for joining us for this huge occasion for me. It means a lot. All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye.